and one of the PrisonPlanet.com forum moderators, JT Coyote, named Jack Travis, great guy, no criminal record, Native American. He got SWAT teamed because the Century 21 realtors saw reloading in his house. And they watch the sitcoms and see the dramas on TV, and reloading supplies and firearms, that's listed in the police report, is evidence of a meth lab. It's evidence of crime. That's why all the shows are based in New York. All the dramas, the fiction shows are based in New York or Chicago. And the cops pull somebody over and find a gun and go, "You're going to jail for this gun." People then watch that in Colorado and Texas. I had it happen to me with carpet cleaners. But I had a bad feeling and called the carpet place, and they said, "Well, he tried to call the cops. Yes, we tried to explain to our cleaner that guns are legal in Texas." But there'd been a whole debate about whether to call the cops on me or not. So I'm telling you, this is dangerous. Somebody needs to start a company like plumbing and carpet cleaning and stuff that advertises, "We don't spy on you when you're in your, when we're in your house." See, cops got to get a warrant to go in your house, but not all these repair people. And you can watch them when they're in your house, man. They're looking, they're all getting a little cut off that. And I know a bunch of old ladies in Austin, it's actually been in the news a few times, who've been raided. But I know old women who get raided for fish tanks. If cleaner men see fish tanks, they think it's drugs, with some lily pads growing. One lady was, she's dead now, a famous scientist that studies fish. I forget I know an ornithologist studies birds, and a zoologist studies animals, period. I forget the scientific name for studying fish. And they saw a bunch of fish tanks in her house, and they raided her, knocked her door down. And I had a good friend, Nick, help actually work on America Destroyed by Design. He and his girlfriend lived next door to me in the apartments, or a few doors down, and we were friends. Totally clean cut. This guy was like 0% fat, running 5 miles a day, lifting weights, and we worked out some. That's why it was so funny. The guy wouldn't even really drink. When they knocked his door down, the SWAT team came because his girlfriend was taking botany at UT and had some little flowers growing with a grow light. You can't have a grow light in America. You're going to be SWAT teamed. Do you understand that? This just happened to JT Coyote. I've got the police reports and everything right here. They're up on Infowars.com. And it says that 2 firearms were seen. Look, you don't have firearms in Colorado. Do you understand that? It doesn't matter if they're legal. SWAT teams are coming. That's how this country operates. That's why there's billboards up. I can be in New York, California, Texas. I've seen them for at least a decade. These billboards that show a revolver pointed at you threateningly, and it says, "Report illegal guns." Well, the slave public that doesn't own guns, half the population, they think guns illegal. That billboard is false advertising. It's meant to say revolvers are illegal. All right, I'm done talking about that. Since we're live at PrisonPlanet.tv, I'm going to air this Michael Reagan clip in the next segment and then get into other news. This Michael Reagan clip is him last year saying, "Murder Mark Dice, I will pay for the bullets and kill other 9/11 truthers." And for soliciting murder on air to 8 million people, he should be arrested. Now, I said earlier that this fool, Roanoke man charged with making online threats on Infowars.com, Roanoke newspaper, he went on there and said, "Kill this cop, kill that cop." He went on there and said, "Go to their house, kill their family." That's horrible to say kill somebody's children. And he's now been arrested. He should get in trouble. But this was obviously across the country, had some danger, but nothing compared to Michael Reagan to 8 million people saying it. He didn't get in trouble. Why? We're going to ask that question when we get back. Then I'm going to get into the financial news, what's happening. Like we warned you, we said this 6-7 months ago, the bailout monies actually caused less bank lending. That's by design. Stay with us. PrisonPlanet.tv.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Coming up, an AP headline, all businesses, bond market rout lifts mortgage costs. The Federal Reserve announced a $1.2 trillion plan 3 months ago designed to push down mortgage rates and breathe life into the housing market. But this and other big government spending programs are turning out to have the opposite effect. Rates and mortgages and U.S. Treasury debts are now marching higher as nervous bond investors fret about the resurgence of inflation. Again, I don't have the staff and crew to do this, but it's very effective with new listeners and viewers online. If listeners will go back to October 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, I said this will increase on every show. I said this will increase increase the amount of mortgages. And then I explained why. We've seen the IMF and World Bank do this hundreds of times in third world countries and in Western countries. This is a shake and bake. It's like people go, you're a genius. You knew how to make pancakes. No, it's right here on the box. I just put some milk and eggs in it and stirred it up, whipped it, and then put it on a griddle. I mean, this is what they do. It's like, Alex Jones is incredible. He took me to Africa and took me out in the savannah and said, watch that tiger. It's going to grab that gazelle. And sure enough, it did. Hey, this guy's amazing. I don't know how he does it. It'd be like if, 15 years ago, I took you to a Bulls game and I said, now watch this. That guy right there, Michael Jordan, sometime in the next hour and a half, he's going to go over and slam dunk a ball. And then he slam dunks it and they go, how did you know that? Oh my God, you're incredible. No, it's Michael Jordan. This stuff is so simple. It's all stated on record. They openly run giant eugenics foundations. They say world government's going to be put in place to carry out our orderly extermination. And I give you all the articles and documents every day. I shoot you straight here, but you don't have to believe me. You can go check it out. I tell you, biological diversity assessments, 89, 95, 96, they all talk about getting rid of 80% of the population. I put screenshots of it in my films. You can go to the UN online and read it. I mean, I'm telling you the truth, but trust but verify. Trust but verify. Mark Dice, a prominent 9/11 truther that said, mail my DVDs, Terror Storm, to troops overseas to show them the history of government-sponsored terror from the CIA history page. I mean, that's from CIA.gov in the film. They brag they staged terror attacks in Iran to overthrow the government. They staged attacks and blamed it on the government and said kind of a reverse false flag. That'd be like if the government today, some other government staged a terror attack and made it look like our government did it. Very sophisticated. What they did is they shot mosques, bombed mosques, killed imams, because Mossadegh was trying to keep the Muslim extremists out of control. He was a secular, person who wanted to build up the country, but he wouldn't give BP, British Petroleum Industrial Shell, all the oil, and Anglo-American oil at the time. And so they went in and staged terror attacks and printed up tens of thousands of handbills saying Mossadegh had done it, as if it was from Mossadegh saying, look, I'm attacking the Muslims. See, you go back to 1953, there are the radical Muslims working for the globalists. They've radicalized the Middle East to keep them under their control. Iraq, the women, 60% of doctor and lawyer graduates, and period, 60% across the board, was women. Women didn't wear the headdresses. Women had the same rights as men. Women were in the highest levels of government and industry. Not anymore. They wear burqas. You don't see their faces. It's now an Islamic government. That's what the Muslim extremists work for the New World Order. And they think you'll never figure that out. But it's so obvious. It's the White House admits, the last White House, this White House, they have 4 al-Qaeda groups attacking Iran, bombing dams, bombing police stations, attacking school buses, trying to get the Iranians to attack the U.S. and to attack the fleet. The Iranians go on TV and say, please stop staging terror attacks. Please stop staging terror attacks. And the U.S. admits they're staging, but that isn't the U.S. That's the bankers that control us and are using us. They publicly used al-Qaeda to attack the Serbs. Same story over and over again. The Serbs defend themselves. Oh, the Serbs are engaged in a massacre. We've now got to go take the Serbs over. And the UN comes in and takes over. So that's what's going on here. Now, let me just finish with this. I'm going to do a brief recap as I covered this last hour. Then I'm going to get into all the news. And then JT Coyote's coming up. And then Joe Bannister in studio. In the third hour today, I'm going to get into the latest eugenics info. Some key info I want to cover there coming up and your calls. Roanoke man charged with making online threats. This is out of the Roanoke Times, the major paper in Roanoke, Virginia. And it says he went on Infowars.com. You can read this at Infowars.com. We have links to it. It says he went on my site, and because I remember seeing the post and calling Kurt and Emma up and saying delete it because we don't even have full-time moderators. We got to get them or shut it down. In fact, I think I'll just maybe shut the forums down until we are able to hire the moderators. Maybe that's the answer. But then if the money doesn't come in, I can't do it. But side issue. It says he said, go to the cop's house, get him, get his family. You think this is a threat? It isn't. It's a promise is what he said here. And I know, I saw the comments. I erased them. And the FBI calls up days later and says, you erased that. We want you to put that back up. And I said, look, I'm not putting that back up. And they said, okay, well, we're going to subpoena you for it. And I said, whatever. Then the subpoena came in, and then another subpoena, and they said, well, we can't say it has to do with this. Tell us about the Obama deception. They were like messing with me, trying to make me think it was about that, and asking my employees about my films and my work and about me. And I was going, is this about this guy making threats, or is this about Alex Jones? And they'd say, sorry, I can't tell you that. But don't talk about it, or you'll be in contempt of federal grand jury. And I'm like, okay. So I go talk to my lawyers, got to pay for that. And they say, well, you can say they came in there and subpoenaed you, but no, don't say what it's about. I go, hell, I can't say what it's about. I don't know what it's about. Well, now we know, at least one of them, it's this guy. And, the issue is what he did is wrong and bad. But what about the cop that did kill the guy in handcuffs and then lie about it and try to cover up the video surveillance?